Close your eyes and imagine the scene. It's early on a Sunday morning, there's nothing but clear blue skies, open road, you've got nowhere in particular to be, you're just cruising. Now open your eyes and imagine this, the R18 Classic. Is this the bike you want to be on? Well, we're here to find out. Stick around and stay tuned. The R18 Classic has such an unmistakable cruiser vibe to it. It's got all the charm, all the cool, and all the chrome you could ever want. Stylish saddlebags and a windshield differentiates the Classic visually from the rest of the model lineup. And while we can sit around all day and admire each and every beautifully crafted detail of this motorcycle, it's best experienced on the move. So let's dive right in. The seat is wonderfully sculpted to keep you in place when you start giving it the berries. It's comfortable and plush, and at 710 mils, it's low enough to accommodate even the shortest of riders with ease. The mirrors are great, clear without any distortion, and while you're on the move, they don't vibrate unless the bike does. Once it smooths out at cruising speeds, they work a treat. The reach to the clutch lever isn't bad, even for people with smaller hands. It does feel heavy in slow-moving traffic though. The engagement point, however, is very close, making shifting effortless. Which brings us nicely to the next point, the gearbox. It's silky smooth both up and down. A novel idea is the inclusion of a heel shifter. This makes upshifts easier with the floorboards. This works by pressing down with your heel to shift up a gear instead of trying to hook your boot under the shift lever. If you don't want to use this, simply adjust the shift lever higher up. There's no quick shifter here, but that isn't the Classic style anyways. Take it easy on the downshifts though. Too abrupt and the rear tends to hop around on you, so avoid that if you can. It's incredibly easy to find neutral on this bike in all situations with the smooth and satisfying click. However, false neutrals can happen when you're a bit lazy with your shifts, but not often enough to count as a mark against the bike. The turning circle is smaller than you think. It's no ox wagon. This is great as it gives you a lot of confidence to maneuver it around, despite it being a big bike. It's also easy to park, especially with the reverse gear at your disposal, so you can park it up wherever without thinking too much about it, even if it can be tricky to engage sometimes. The R18 Classic has an excellent lighting setup. The brights are super sharp. The spotlights illuminate the side of the road, adding to visibility. And the daytime running lights work fantastic at making you visible to other road users during the day. One downside is how the rear indicators disappear a bit when the brake light is engaged. But apart from that, the lights are awesome. The kickstand is easy to extend or hook back in. It's long enough to give you a confident, planted feel, which is great for a big, heavy bike. Just make sure you have enough space to extend it without catching it on curbs or the like. As for ergonomics, the reach forward to the bars is perfect. It has a chunky set of grips that folks with bigger hands will appreciate. The seat holds you comfortably in place, although a touch higher would suit taller riders better. Your feet aren't entirely in the forward position due to the engine poking out on the sides, but it's easy enough to get comfortable on. The floorboards are easy to get used to and enjoy all day long, but you have to reach around them when putting your feet down in stops. This bike caters for short and tall riders equally, a tough act to pull off, so well done BMW. The non-adjustable windshield, fitted as standard to the Classic, is angled in such a way that it does cause buffeting on your helmet. One way to get around this is to be tall and look over it. This keeps the wind off your chest nicely. If you are shorter, however, it will hit you right in the middle of the helmet, so not ideal. The switchgear feels great and of solid build quality. Everything is logically laid out and easily accessible. On the left side, we find cruise control, hazards, ABS on-off switch, menu button, mode selector, spotlight switch, indicators, and a very lackluster sounding horn. On the right, heated grips, engine start button, and a kill switch. The single clock look works great for the heritage-themed bike. Everything is easy to read in all lighting conditions, and at night, it has a very classy looking backlight. The clock displays a gear position indicator, fuel usage, a digital tach, current riding mode, trip info, and so on. The only major letdown is the lack of a fuel gauge. Not good for those of us with range anxiety. The R18 Classic is loaded with more tech than you'd expect on a heritage bike. Some of the tech features that were on the model we had on test include hill start assist, 3 different riding modes, rain, rock, and roll, switchable ABS, 3-level heated grips, an alarm system, traction control, cruise control, reverse gear, and keyless ride. The passenger seat is a great place to be on the Classic. It's pretty wide and comfortable enough to spend extended periods of time on. The passenger pegs are well placed and slots your pillion into place quite nicely. It's easy to mount and dismount without the saddlebags getting in the way. The suspension copes well with 2-up travel, and with all that power at your disposal, you'll hardly feel like you have an extra person on board. With a 16-litre tank, the R18 Classic will return around 200 km of range before the low fuel warning light illuminates, at which point you'll have about 30 km to find fuel. On our test, we reliably managed 6.5 litres per 100 km, with a good mix of highway cruising and flat-out spanking, so all in all, not bad. The fuel cap is tricky to figure out initially and comes completely detached when you fill up. A bit annoying, but not the end of the world. The non-lockable panniers, or saddlebags if you prefer, are quite small but do have a removable inner bag for convenience. The tapered off shape suits the looks but compromises on space. With around 15 litres of capacity each, no helmet or backpack will fit. You can, however, fit 8 1-pound blocks of butter in them. Trust us on this one, we checked. It could be argued that this bike was designed to match a lazy and easygoing lifestyle, but that message was never received by the engineers. That 1800cc engine is an absolute bomb when it needs to be. While the throttle does feel pretty elastic, it will still get you awfully close to jail time speeds in no time at all. There's buckets of torque to get you to your desired cruising speed, and once you're there, it's so easy to just stay there, all day long. It does smooth in roll mode, but it also does brute force in rock. It's incredible. And if the weather turns mean and you need to dial it all the way back, there's rain mode to keep you shiny side up. And that brings us to the exhaust on the R18 Classic. It complements the bike perfectly in both look and sound. It has just the right amount of bark in rock, slightly more muted in roll, and completely unobtrusive in rain mode. Here's Greg demonstrating the Classic in rock mode. Enjoy. The R18 Classic is furnished with linked BMW branded brakes. The ABS tends to kick in sooner than you'd like, but hey, rather safe than sorry. And we're happy to report that they are perfectly adequate for stopping a big heavy bike such as this. A very welcome surprise is how great the R18 Classic feels in the corners. It's a tad slow to tip in, but once it does, it'll hold that line for as long as you need. Obviously ground clearance will come into play sooner or later, but as can be reasonably expected from a bike such as this, it's great. The bike isn't ridiculously stiff, but it certainly isn't soft. This helps a lot for cornering ability, but can make for a bumpy ride on crappier road surfaces. The fact that the suspension isn't adjustable without breaking out a toolkit can be a bit of an annoyance to some. It is, however, super stable in a straight line, so feel free to pop on the cruise control and give your right hand a break. The good news is, it feels lighter than it really is. It's very well balanced and all that weight completely disappears once you're on the move. It can, however, tip over very easily if it leans over far enough, and picking up all that bike definitely won't be fun. It's still 365 kilos at the end of the day, so be careful. The bike we had on test was equipped with Michelin Commander 3 touring tyres. The fat 16-inch bobber style tyre did a great job of keeping us rubber side down with plenty of grip and a good feel for the road. Is it beginner friendly? No, probably not. It's a heavy and very expensive bike to drop. Not to mention all the torque you have to keep under control. We'd recommend getting confident on a smaller and lighter bike first. Is this the bike to have if you could only have one? In our opinion, it wouldn't be ideal, but for some it might be. In a perfect world, this would be a bike reserved exclusively for weekend fun, but as always, to each their own. The competition to the R18 Classic will most typically be the following. The BMW R18 Classic has the style and charm to win over just about anyone who spends more than 15 minutes in its saddle. It rides beautifully with all the power and none of the drama. It looks fantastic parked outside your favorite restaurant, giving anyone passing by plenty to ogle. And as we've heard from numerous people, it's the prettiest Harley they've ever seen. Make of that what you will. This bike is like that one dad rock album you've heard a million times but still can't get enough of. A past, present and future, well, classic. Thanks for watching.